I don't think we can exclude the possibility without knowing more of the facts.
I'm glad that there is a special prosecutor that's been appointed. Anytime there is a deviance in regards to security protocols, that should be taken serious. It should be investigated.
No one is above the law.
President Biden's own party growing increasingly frustrated with how the White House is handling the scandal, as yet more pages of classified material are discovered at Joe Biden's Delaware beach home. Here to react, Fox News contributor and author of Defeating Big Government Socialism, Newt Gingrich. Speaker, so great to have you on this morning. So the Democrats are really famous for sticking together. They hang together. They don't criticize each other. And now we're seeing these people kind of, break with the White House and all the excuse making, frankly, by even the media. What's behind this? Are they really outraged by this? Or is there some political thing going on?
Well, I suspect they're shaken by it. They thought they had a clear shot at Donald Trump. Now they have President Biden with, I think, 4 different examples of mishandling secure information. They knew that Hunter Biden was already a problem, and now part of the Biden defense is that Hunter had access to the garage where many of the secret documents were. And remember, a lot of those documents involve Ukraine, which was a country where Hunter was making a lot of money out of Burisma, even though he had no knowledge, no experience. So I think that raises a question. And the documents that were found in the University of Pennsylvania office lead directly to the question of how many $1 million the Chinese communists gave to the University of Pennsylvania, why the University of Pennsylvania president is now the ambassador to Berlin, and to what extent the entire Biden team was being paid indirectly by the Chinese communists while they were there. All of these things, all of a sudden, if you're a rational Democrat, you're looking at this thinking, this could get a lot worse, and Biden's not offering any answers, and his press secretary's either totally uninformed or just plain lying, because she keeps saying, well, we've now got everything out, and then there's another dump. So I don't know that you're going to see 22 FBI agents in an armed raid the way there was at Mar-a-Lago, but clearly the special counsel, who was a Trump appointee at the Justice Department, is going to be very methodical. And I think President Biden's going to find a lot of his friends aren't going to go very far in defending him.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really frustrating to see the 2 different ways that, Joe Biden is being treated. His lawyers are, working with the DOJ and sorting through the documents, finding what's in there. And then Donald Trump's lawyers were not allowed. Imagine if Giuliani had been allowed in there. But his home was raided with FBI agents, armed FBI agents. His wife's bedroom raided. His little son's, teenage son's bedroom raided. When I see this, unequal justice, when I see that one party is treated differently than the party in power, it makes me depressed, Speaker. It makes me think we're losing America. We're no better than Cuba when these things happen. What say you? I mean, you wrote this book on big socialism. Can we get back to what America is, or are we losing America forever with this?
No, I think the American people are taking their own country back. You see that in the governorships, whether it's in Florida or Ohio or Iowa or Texas, where people have moved decisively against wokeism, people have moved decisively against big government socialism. And I think Speaker McCarthy and the Republicans in the House are proof that we're gradually taking the country back. But there's no question that the big government socialists have done a tremendous amount of damage, and that it's much deeper than Joe Biden. It's an entire establishment, including a lot of the FBI, a lot of the Justice Department, a lot of Homeland Security. This is going to be a long, difficult process, rooting out the corruption and the bias and the illegality.
You were in the spot of Kevin McCarthy yourself. Can he, as Speaker, without having the Senate, be able to make these kinds of changes?
Yeah, in fact, I'm writing a brief paper right now. Joe Gaylord and I are writing a book called March to the Majority, which will come out next June. And in the process, we began putting together the things we learned because we governed with Bill Clinton. We got welfare reform. We got the only 4 balanced budgets in your lifetime. We got the largest capital gains tax cut. So I think there are principles you can apply. And frankly, I think Speaker McCarthy had a good week last week.
He did.
He had two significant bills, creating a China committee and cutting off China from dealing with our strategic oil reserve. Both of those got a lot of Democratic votes. One of them, in fact, got a majority of the Democrats. So he's off to a more bipartisan start than Nancy Pelosi ever dreamed of. And I think if he just keeps working at it, they're going to be able to use the debt ceiling to get very significant reforms, period. So I'm optimistic about the House.
Yeah. He also united the base by announcing that he was going to release everything on January 6th, which I think has won him a lot of love from a lot of Republicans. Speaker, thanks for the optimism. We needed it this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All
Good
right.
to be with you.
Likewise.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.